Okay, so for this lesson, we can't figure out how to videotape while doing Edmodo, so I'm just going to verbally say my Edmodo quiz questions. However, I do have a quiz linked on the video. So, for this learning lesson, I am geared at a special education classroom, ranges grades 6 through 8, since I would like to teach middle school. Obviously, though, comprehension scales vary amongst that. And then this lesson is geared toward reading, and I'm trying to emphasize comprehension of not only the storyline, but also ensuring that they're picking up on grammatical errors. So, for this reading lesson, we're going to utilize our iPad. This is her iPad, and we're going to utilize her Early Reading Kids app. And this is an app that actually they can use at home, because if they're unable to read, it will actually read along for them. So they can not only hear it, but they can also read it. And we're going to read Puss in Boots. So, there was only a miller whose only inheritance to his 3 sons was his mill, his donkey, and his cat. The division was soon made. They hired neither a clerk nor an attorney, for they would have eaten up all the poor patrimony. The eldest took the mill, the second took the donkey, and the youngest took the cat. So question 1 is, what the miller had inheritance to leave to his son. He could either leave him A, a mill, B, a horse, or C, a dog. What is the answer? And you can look at the story if you would like. The mill. That is correct. The poor young fellow was quite comfortless for having received so little. My brothers, he said, may make a handsome living by joining their shares together. But for my part, after I have eaten up my cat and made myself a muff from his skin, I must then die of hunger. Alrighty. So for this next page, I'm going to listen to you and you're going to read to me, okay?
The cat, who heard all this, said to him with a grave and serious air, "Do not be so concerned, my good master. If you will but give me a bag, and have a pair of boots made for me, that I may scamper through the dirt and the brambles, then you shall see that you are not so poorly off with me as you imagine."
Awesome. And why were you taking breaks whenever you saw a comma?
Because you pause.
Correct. That's exactly why. Okay, question 2. I'm going to give you 2 scenarios. Listen to how I say them and think about where you hear commas and tell me which one's correct. So the first one is, the cat who heard all this said to him with a grave and serious air. Does that sound correct?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Does this one sound more correct? The cat who heard all this said to him with a grave and serious air. Which one sounded more correct? Think about commas and think about where I took my breaks. Did A sound more correct or did B sound more correct?
B.
Good job. Alrighty, so I'm going to have you read the next page. And remember to think about the commas. Actually, no, that was the end of the story. But I have one more question for you. So, the story talks about that the cat asks for 2 items. Do you remember what the 2 items were that he asks for?
A bag and boots.
Good job. So that's the quiz. So you got a round of applause for passing the quiz. Next, I'm gonna have you. We're gonna. Yeah. Oh, it needs to be so much. So now we're gonna work on our actual. What's this? We're gonna open up the app. Sorry, it's loading on me and I can't see it. Divio Media is who it's made by, and it's the Little Stories. And we're going to read this because this is going to work on your reading. So this last one was reading to us, and we were reading along with it. This one is going to actually, you're going to read it. If it would load faster.
Once upon a time, a loving couple of eagles built a nest on top of a high cliff. They were happy and looked forward to seeing their 3 baby eagles hatch. Soon the eaglets began to poke through their shells. At first, only 2 little brothers came out. The third one took its time.
Alright, pause. So, we heard the word hatch. Can you give me a definition of what hatch would mean based on the pictures and the words that you read?
The egg breaks.
Correct. And what comes out of the egg when it breaks?
Bird.
Good job. Okay, continue.
The parents began to worry until they heard a crackle. Finally, the third eaglet, a beautiful little girl, was hatched. They called her H. The family was happy beyond all measure. The baby eaglets were so cute. The days passed and the eaglets grew. It was time for them to learn to fly. Their parents taught their fledglings how to flap their wings. The eagles sat on the edge of the nest and watched curiously.
All right, pause. So we're going to go back to that. So read the first line for me again.
The parents taught their fledglings how to flap their wings.
So what do you think fledglings means in this sentence?
The children.
Good job. And how did you know that?
Because of the picture.
Good job. We know it's the fledglings because we know we're talking about the babies, but we see the mom and the dad and then the 3 babies. So she was able to get the context from not only the sentence itself, but also the story. Okay. Read one more page.
The elder brothers flew up towards their parents.
Read one more.
Now it's H's turn, but when she looked down, she was afraid of the height.
Oh, geez. So what do you think one of the themes is of this story then?
Probably to overcome your fears.
Yeah, and so your assignment the rest of tonight at home is you're going to finish reading that story with your mom and your dad, and then you're going to come back in tomorrow and we're all going to be giving presentations over the themes and the summary of our story. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Awesome.